Alright, so I got some news on the Mercedes and some good news, bad news sort of fashion. Good news is the belt is off, so I don't have to mess with the idler pulley down there. Bad news is this is the culprit, and I have some shredded fan blades. So this is going to be fun to replace. Got to replace the belt too, and the fan itself. Alright, I made some decent progress. I've removed the fan shroud around here, so now I can access this easily. Only problem is I've got this one stuck bolt right there. The rest I'm able to get, but that one little bugger right there is just... I don't know what size millimeter hex these, or if these are Torx on these bolts heads, but either which way, it's a little bit of fun to try to figure that out. Alright, this is bright and cheery Sunday morning. I got all these bolts off. I used this 5mm hex thing that I chopped down, and it allowed me to get in there just barely. And I think these are the same size. I think I'm going to try to attempt to take off these on this fan here. But, yeah, I sprayed this knocker loose penetrant. Never used it before, don't know how well it works. Sprayed all of these bolts, see if I can get it knocked off and what I can figure out from here. I might probably end up trying to pull off the whole fan with the water pump, because I've already ordered another clutch and fan. And then the other thing is I took a torch and kind of hit these guys here to kind of smooth out the edges, because I was cutting up my hand pretty good. So we'll see what happens. One of my favorite little tricks is using a magnet that's attached to the end of a hex bolt, so you don't lose your bolts whenever you're working with them. Probably gonna lose it because this fan's gonna come off though, but at least I'm not losing it because of simply dropping it. The thing I love about every online video is they make this part, granted I don't have two hands to show, but they make this part seem like it's the easiest thing, but when you have a broken pulley, like completely broken, how the heck do you loosen this thing? I'm probably going to have to take off all of the water pump in order to get this stupid idler, not idler pulley, but fan clutch off. It's been giving me a lot of trouble. Hopefully I can get it off without, but oh well. Oh yeah, we have a trick in the old country to catch parts as they fall. Alright, just popped off the idler pulley to make the access to that bolt a little bit better. I've loosened out that with a T14 or an E14 Torx bit, and that's the E12 here and here, I think, or there. Either which way, I'm getting ready to start loosening all this stuff and get this assembly off. Doesn't look like much, but I'm starting to make real progress. I even found that little bolt down there, so I can't wait to undo all these bolts, put them in this little cheap Chinese-made pump, because a lot of people do the cardboard template as a cutout or whatever. I like this because I already have it, and I'm not going to use it. So as I've been going through, something I realized, this is why you don't buy Chinese pumps, because this doesn't fit, whereas I have this Italian made one and it does fit. The alternator bolt fits right in, no problem there. And you can see now kind of how the bolt arrangement is, save for the alternator bolt that on this Chinese pump. But what's interesting is that all these E10 bits are actually the same length, so they seem, well, not all of them, but a lot of them seem to be interchangeable, especially on the neck right there. So that's kind of interesting. Oh, one more thing. Forgot about this little bolt back there. Whoops. If you find yourself like having trouble getting the pump out initially, turns out there's a little clip that goes up right here. And yeah, I was kind of fighting against that. I feel like it might be easier to remove now, given if I didn't forget any bolts around it. I don't think I did, but yeah, that was a little bit of a struggle. Here I thought I had everything removed, but turned out there's one long bolt between these two little major hoses right there, those outlets or whatever they're called. But yeah, I got that out, and now the pump's freely moving, so I think I could get this thing off now. Actually, first let me put this back up. There's a new one. And that was the final bolt there. Alright. Moment of truth. Oh. Oh, there's your problem. Jeebus Christ. Well, since I'm at the end of my lunch break, I'm just going to plug these holes and come back to it. Maybe put a bag or something over top of it just to kind of protect it a little bit from the elements before I give it a nice little clean. And then put on a new gasket and call it a day. Fucking happy I got it off. Got the rubber gasket out. Now I'm going to put this other one in. I got to have this side face up so it'll fit all proper like. But yeah, I wish I had two hands right now, but wish me luck. Finally got the new gasket on. This one has a little bit of ridges in it. The Chinese one I got did not. So anyway, it almost looked like it was too long, but you know, I just kept having to wiggle it a little bit and it finally fit into place. But yeah, if it ever seems like that it doesn't fit, just keep working with it. It will. Never mind, scratch that, y'all. I realize what actually is going on here is I'm probably gonna have to move the belt into place, right? And once that bad boy is set into place, then I release this and that puts the belt in tension. Why it's called I guess a belt tensioner. Is I put the belt in tension to hold it in place. But yeah, let's see. I do need to get all that thing torqued down to spec before I do anything else, because I found out my torque wrench is not doing what I want it to. So yeah, but boop 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 boop. Got my new fan and fan clutch assembly, but the issue is that I didn't get a bell housing for the pulley, so I need to get this off. And this thing is just so dang stuck that I really am struggling to get it off. I'm gonna have to grind it out with a little Dremel and a tungsten carbide bit. So that's where this is at. That thing was so stuck I had to use an angle grinder to get it off. That was ridiculous. I think the general game plan here is probably I'll get the belt put back on. I'll still leave the hoses off. It's just to move the car with some power steering and brakes and whatnot. And then I'm gonna run water through all the hoses like here and just see where it runs out. I'm gonna have to run the car dry for a short moment, and the idea is just to get it moved, and then I'm gonna flush water through all the ports, hoping that there's no debris left behind, especially inside the engine or any of the hoses. That's generally where the project's at right now. At least I got this kind of mounted back. I've got the zip tie holding it there, and another, if you see back there, I got the zip tie holding it on there. Almost have the fan clutch assembly disassembled. It has been an absolute pain in the ass to get this thing apart. I do believe this is the original. It does say Germany here. And then there's a little word right there. Let's see here if I can go into a different zoom setting. Yeah. That must be an abbreviation. I got all the bolts torqued down with the help of this boy here. And my hose is reattached. Never really did do that engine flush. Probably will have to do that like later. But yeah, I got all that. I just need to get this pulley back on and then she'll be road ready. I got this airflow sensor, where the heck is it? Got that mounted with some zip ties, kind of creatively, but not really wiggling a lot, and that's the important thing. Just enough wiggle to allow it to play about a little bit. It's so stuck, I'm getting ready to stick weld it so I can attack this bolt, because I really don't see any other way at this point. Gave it a good couple whacks, but yeah, I think I'm actually ending up rounding off this bit right there instead of actually making any progress. It is that stuck, so that's going to be my solution. There's a couple scuffs in her, but I got her off. And like that, I got the belt back on. I torqued all those bolts there like 7.5 with some thread locker on the pulley. And getting it actually attached, it's having some trouble, so I took off the idler pulley and then kind of mounted it around and then put the idler pulley back on and let that kind of guide in its tracks once it was on the wheel to get it slowly into that. But yeah, doing that one-handed is kind of hard. And I've never used Xerox G05 or G05 before, but my god, is that really got to be the color? Because that totally looks like a trucker's, you know, what's it and what have you. Boy, oh boy, that color though, I swear it looked probably like really hilarious when I was pouring it in the reservoir. Aside from the smoke billowing out of the sides of the head gaskets, all seems to be doing well. It actually expanded up a little bit. That's, I guess, a good sign. We'll see. It doesn't look like there's any leaks so far. Well, it's the end of a long and educational journey. I gotta say, I'm very happy that I got the water pump on. There doesn't seem to be any leaks so far. Fingers crossed, knock on wood, or whatever the veneer is in here. But yeah, I did it all by myself. I would call it the Murphy's Law proof of a water pump change, a nightmare of one, where pretty much everything that could go wrong did, but ultimately, I still got the pump changed and everything seems to be working out okay. Pretty happy with it overall. So yeah, toodles y'all, it's been fun. Well, let's see what next I can do. So I stuck a paper clip down that pinhole on the mass airflow sensor there, and that'll protect it while I was gluing this whole assembly into place. And I used that gel super glue initially on the base with baking soda, and then used the liquid on top of that with some more baking soda to kind of really seal it. The gel kind of just got the general form. And lastly, whenever I'm done, I'll take some silicone sealant and go around this just once more around all the edges and make sure it's airtight. Got that barbed attachment attached, and got some silicone sealant surrounding it. Pretty good heap and helping layer there, and a little bit extra for the cause. But yeah, this turned out pretty good. Did a little side project. Got these hoses replaced with some nice platinum cured silicone hoses from a US company. You could probably figure them out if you Google their info, but yeah, just gonna put on some zip ties. There's an issue whenever I was putting on the thing again, the motor, the little plastic clip broke, but it turns out you can just jam the wire, you know, brown on the bottom, red on the top, and you just jam the wire over the connectors and it works. So you don't really got to bother with this little plastic bit of negativity all over the ground here. You can just jam the wires on it. Now all I need to do is kind of seal them in a little bit.